I'm Aaron Tolegian, joined on my left by Steve Ramirez and on my right by Fred J. Robledo. We are talking about the three, we're doing this differently this week. We're talking about the three biggest games in the Tribune area, according to us at least, coming up this week.
They're three big games, too.
And this is going to be more like a 2-minute drill, Fred, not a 2-minute drill in 10 minutes. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with the first one, going down at Kiefer. This is the home opener for the Bishop of Amat Lancers, who have already been deep in the heart of Texas, deep in the heart of Orange County. Now they're right back home in La Puente, where they thrive so well. They are hosting Rancho Cucamonga. Amat 1-1. Big win in Aledo last week, Texas.
42-7.
Rancho Cucamonga looking every bit like the powerhouse they usually are, 2-0.
Yeah, and they beat Tribune Hills 17-0, Norco 42-41. Both of those opponents that they faced haven't won a game yet, but they're quality opponents. They usually are. This is always a good game, Aaron, right? Rancho Cucamonga has a lot of athletes, a lot of speed. That in the past has bothered Bishop Amat. But I think
Bothers everybody.
Yeah, but I think their size this year, and especially defensively, what Amat's been able to do the first 2 weeks. You look at Servite; they went off in their second game last week, and Bishop Amat's defense really held an Aledo team that's used to scoring a lot of points, to 7 points, and almost shut them out, which would have been their first shutout since I think 2002. So I think their home opener, Bishop Amat, feeling really good about itself right now. I think this is the game where they can't take a step back.
No, they can't.
took a huge step forward last year. Last week, they moved into number 9 on the Pac-5 rankings. Kind of surprising considering Santa Margarita at 2-0 is not there, but that's an argument for another day how that happened. But it just showed you how much people thought of that win at Aledo last week.
Right, Stevie, you've seen some of these Rancho Amat games. You know they're usually pretty hard-hitting, pretty fierce things. Any early thoughts?
Well, I just like the way Amat recovered from losing their opener, and I think they may have found something. I think they may have gone into the season. Well, yeah, I think they may have gone.
They drink their bottle and get tough.
I think they may have gone into the season, you know, with these lofty expectations.
Yeah, reading a little too much Airman Fred.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they saw what happens when you don't work.
Right.
And they lost, and I think they found something last week, and I think they're going to continue.
And I think it might also turn out to be that Santa Margarita was a pretty good test, a pretty good team on the road.
I would agree.
It was a game that
Still think they should have won.
Yeah, a lot of people looking at the tape feel like they were the better team.
Still think they should have won easily. Like we said, cannot afford to step back here. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm predicting a slow Amat start turns into a second half, Amat domination, and they win somewhat going away.
I was thinking the same thing, Aaron. I mean, traditionally things like this they do. There's going to be those effects from last week, where maybe they're a little sluggish in the beginning.
A lot of traveling, Fred.
Yeah, but you're right. I think they're going to come out and they're going to win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Okay, Stevie R, want to make it a trifecta?
Yeah, I think Amat wins this game pretty easily.
Okay, wow. So there we have it. We're all picking Amat and picking Amat somewhat easily. Enjoy yourself, Cougars. Okay, so now let's move on. We got a battle going down, Stevie, in San Dimas of 2 number 1 ranked teams in their respective divisions. San Dimas, number 1 in the Mid-Valley. Diamond Bar, number 1 in the Central Division. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Yeah.
Acid test coming for Diamond Bar.
I mean, 2 number 1s.
Yeah.
I mean, what? Go ahead.
It's a pretty big test for San Dimas.
You've seen Diamond Bar.
Yeah, I've seen Diamond
you're
Bar.
the only one here that has.
Yeah, I've seen Diamond Bar. I like the way they use noodles as sometimes the key weapon, sometimes a decoy. I like the way they've been playing defense. I think they're one of the surprises of the area this year.
Yeah, and I think they're probably keeping it simple with Tyler Peterson, at quarterback. He's not overthrowing the ball, doing just enough. Noodles, Antonio Hoves got he's averaging 129 yards. Counter that by San Dimas, Darius Chamberlain. Steve, your home run hitter, that's what you picked him. He's averaging 119 yards. So I think both teams are Diamond Bar's probably going to mix it up a little bit more than San Dimas. But what a big test for San Dimas as the Mid-Valley number 1. If they can go in there and beat the Central number 1, that's gotta go a long way.
They're not going in anywhere. They're at home in the game.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The thing is with San Dimas, 1-1. I don't know if I gave their record. Diamond Bar 2-0. Diamond Bar hasn't beaten the 2 teams Diamond Bar's beaten haven't won a game yet.
Yeah, they've beaten Montebello 48-14 and Walnut 44-7.
Right.
Lopsided victories, but 2 teams that haven't done anything.
Conversely,
to do anything.
San Dimas,
yes,
hard luck loser against Monrovia, but maybe a lucky winner against Los Altos, a game where they were down a touchdown, came back, scored, went for 2, got it late, and won the
Yeah,
game.
I mean,
So
you can really say
they could have
San
won
Dimas
or
is
lost
on,
either
San
game.
Dimas is
Yeah.
on that level with
Yeah.
Monrovia.
Yes.
He's also ranked in the
They've
Central.
proven that.
They're
Yeah.
on that level with Los Angeles. They're on the level with
Right.
some pretty good Central Division teams. This
Right.
would be another argument if they can knock off Diamond Bar. Yeah, I think that's just a lot of street cred for them when you argue against the
Right.
upper division local schools
Right.
that we have.
Right. So to that point, this is my take. San Dimas has been in against speed. San Dimas has been in against size. When you talk about Los Altos and then speed, you talk about Monrovia. Diamond Bar's not going to show them either of those things that they haven't seen before. Therefore, I'm favoring San Dimas to get this game. I think Noodles makes a few big plays, but San Dimas with that offense, you know it's going to get better gradually. With that defense, what I think is very, very good, and it's starting to show. I mean, they've held a couple pretty good teams to around 3 touchdowns or so. I'm taking San Dimas to win a very close game. What do you got?
I've just got a different vibe about San Dimas, and I think Noodles is. I mean, you'd mentioned him as already a quick early season player of the year candidate,
Yes.
and I think him now knowing that he's the primary guy, he's the ball carrier. You're not sharing it for 3 or 4 different guys. I'm buying San Dimas. That I know they haven't played anybody yet. I think they're going to.
You're buying Diamond Bar.
I'm buying Diamond Bar. Yeah, I'm buying that. I think they're ready for this
Are
game.
you going to pick Diamond Bar?
I'm picking Diamond Bar over San Dimas.
Wow. He's going to go best player on the field.
Yeah.
Means you win the game.
Best player in the field.
Wow, okay.
And I
I
like
didn't
the
expect
quarterback.
that.
I like the quarterback.
Well, he's a veteran.
I got San Dimas in a tight game.
Wow.
I mean, I think it goes back to the offense they run. If they don't turn the ball over,
Yeah.
they're gonna create some problems for Diamond Bar. And what I saw, even though Diamond Bar beat Montebello pretty bad, they did give up a few big plays. And San Dimas, if you give San Dimas some big plays, they're gonna turn those into touchdowns.
This is the test for Diamond Bar, folks. Get out there for this game. Number 1 in the Central, number 1 in the Mid-Valley. Awesome setup. Our final game, Freddie, we got Charter Oak 0-2 on the season.
Right.
Get that, but they played, a tough Green Valley team, and they played a La Mirada team that might be the best La Mirada team ever, if not, in recent years. Well, I don't have. I mean, you're right. I don't have the background to really say that, but I mean, they may go down as one of the better ones, Fred. Damien 1-0. And Damien's hosting this game. It looks like I'll be out there for this one.
Yeah.
What do you think, man?
I'm trying to figure out who this is more important to. Damien, who needs to show that they're ready for the baseline and they can still compete in the inner division, and that with Mark Paredes in their second year, they're ready to graduate to that next step. Our Charter Oak, that's 0-2 and can't afford really. I mean, yeah, they can afford to start 0-3 and come back later on, but you really, that it starts to get the kids when you lose week in and week out. You don't know what that breeds. So I think it's an interesting game. I don't know enough about Damien if they've really graduated to that next level. I mean, the win last week over, who did they play? Was it Roosevelt?
Yeah,
Yes.
Roosevelt. I don't, nobody knows a lot about Roosevelt, but they handled them pretty well. But I'm leaning towards Charter Oak, I think, right now.
Okay, Stevie, any early thoughts on this
Yeah,
one?
I mean, I saw Damien last year against St. Francis. I was a little bit impressed with them, but not a lot. I mean, they had a few good athletes, and Charter Oak usually starts slow, but they did kind of stay with La Mirada last week for a little bit, I think.
Well, they fell down big,
Yeah.
closed it, and then went down big again.
Yeah,
and came back.
So I would probably lean towards Charter Oak.
Right.
The template that Charter Oak is taking is sort of what San Dimas did in the Mid-Valley last year, where they're playing teams, not necessarily Pac-5, but they're using the non-league to play teams that are step-ups in division. So they can very well start 0-4 when you think of, I think it's Corona Roosevelt that's coming in town, Charter Oak.
Yeah, just like last year.
They start 0-4 last year?
Started
Yeah.
0-4,
But they didn't have to go into
they
the
won their
Sierra
next
and
six.
then the baseline. What I'm saying is,
Right, yeah.
I very well think they could start 0-4 and then get into their comfort zone of the new league and the Hacienda and make a run.
Well, what Charter Oak has that's typically given Damien trouble in these past, recent years when they were together in the Sierra League is speed, and they have a lot of that.
Yeah.
Damien's not La Mirada. We can just forget about that right now. And who knows how good Green Valley is.
Yeah.
I always get scared, Freddie, picking 0-2 teams, 0-3 teams that are winless, because until they do it and show they know how to do it, it's hard to pick them. But I just think, again, I saw Charter Oak last week. I think this game's going to be very close. I really do. But I think Charter Oak has the playmakers to pull it out. When you talk about Zion Eccles, I worry about them being a little beat up
Yeah.
from that La Mirada game, because that was physical and they did get beat up. So I'm going to pick Charter Oak, but not with a ton of confidence. But I think they're going to eke out a win here. But I'm worried that we don't realize how good Damien is. I worry that they are going to be sneaky good this
But
year.
maybe Charter Oak has that little mental ownership over Damien, because they didn't lose to him in those 3 or 4 years they were in the Sierra.
They kind of made it look easy.
Yeah, and I don't know what it is, the way they match up, but I'm gonna stay with the Ferraris. I'm gonna stay with Charter Oak. I'm gonna say they get their first win on Friday.
Stevie R?
Yeah, I got Charter Oak in this game. Like I said, I'm just not sure Damien is there yet, and I know Charter Oak is young, but I think that they're just a better program and a better team.
Right. Okay, so there you have it. We all three picked Charter Oak. These are the games, folks. Amat hosting Rancho, San Dimas hosting Diamond Bar, and Damien hosting Charter Oak. You can't miss going to any of them. Enjoy them, and we'll see what happens with these predictions.